Oh Lord, it is good to be here with you, my friend, because today you and I are going back to the exact moment my confidence died, resurrected, and then died again behind a customer service desk. I still remember walking into that place like a shaky little stickman someone drew in a rush, all elbows and panic and fake smile. My brain was screaming that I was not ready. My hands were sweating through the cheap pen they gave me, and every time the door opened, it felt like a new boss battle had just spawned. And yet, on the outside, I was doing that classic customer service thing, nodding like everything was fine, as if my soul was not currently buffering at 0%. Before we go any further, drop in the comments where you are watching this from, because if we are going to survive this emotional collapse together, we might as well know what planet everybody is panicking on. People think confidence is this magic setting. You unlock one random morning, like the universe just updates your software while you sleep. That is not what happened to me at all, man. What I got was the budget version, the trial where you are nervous 90% of the time and you only look confident by accident. On that first day, my manager pointed at the service desk like it was a normal piece of furniture, and in my head, it turned into a gladiator arena. The stickman version of me was standing behind it, knees shaking, while customers lined up with armor made of bills, complaints, and the phrase, "This will only take a second." Every time someone walked up, I had this tiny voice saying, "You are going to mess this up, and everyone will see it," which is literally the opposite of unbreakable confidence. Here is the funny part, though. If you had seen me from the outside, you might have thought, this guy is fine. He is smiling. He is talking. Nothing weird is happening. That is the evil magic of customer service. You become really good at acting okay, while your nervous system is doing parkour in the background. I remember this one lady asking a super simple question, like where to find something that was right behind her, and my mind just froze for a second. My mouth was like an old computer, clicking, buzzing, not loading the words, while my stickman brain was running in circles screaming, "Say literally anything before she calls your manager." The only sentence that came out was this weird half whisper of, yeah, right there, which did not feel confident at all. It felt like my voice tried to abandon my body and escape through the ceiling. That is when I learned the first brutal lesson about confidence at the service desk, which is that your body will try to betray you every single time you are scared. Your hands shake, your voice cracks, you forget how breathing works, and your brain starts suggesting the worst possible lines like, "Sorry, this is my first day of being a functioning human." Meanwhile, the customer has no idea you are going through an internal breakdown. They just see a person in a uniform who is supposed to know things. It is wild how two realities can exist at once. Outside, it looks like a normal interaction. Inside, it feels like you are hanging off a cliff by your last nerve. And this gap between how you feel and how you act is where confidence either breaks or slowly, painfully starts to grow. Have you ever had that thing where you rehearse what you are going to say in your head, and it sounds smooth, but then it comes out of your mouth like broken Lego pieces? That was me, literally every conversation that first week, and especially on day one when I still thought perfection was required. I would stand there, practicing my greeting in my head, thinking, okay, just say good morning, ask how you can help, look normal, do not sound like a robot. Then the person would actually appear in front of me, and my brain would panic and upgrade it to some overcomplicated speech, and I would end up saying something like, "Hello morning, how can I help your day?" Which is not a real sentence in any language. Confidence was not even on the table at that point. I was just trying not to accidentally invent new grammar. The hilarious thing is that customer service does not give you time to heal from one awkward moment before it slaps you with the next one. You cannot pull a dramatic movie pause, stare out the window, and process your emotions while soft music plays, because there is already another person in line clearing their throat. My stickman self at the desk looked like one of those looped animations, repeating the same stiff little wave and forced smile over and over again. while inside I was screaming, please give me one calm minute to reboot. The only real option you have is to mess up, survive, and then mess up slightly less on the next person. It is not glamorous, but it is ridiculously effective at beating the perfection out of you. This is where the first real confidence shift started for me, even though at the time it just felt like endless embarrassment. After enough customers, you begin to notice a pattern, not in them, but in you. You realize the world does not explode when you stutter. Nobody calls the news because you forgot where the forms are. And your manager does not actually burst through the wall like an action hero every time you say, give me 1 second. At some point, a new thought sneaks in. Something tiny like, maybe I can handle this, or at least maybe I will not die today. That is the seed of the unbreakable part. Not feeling amazing, but realizing that even when you feel awful, you can still function. Let us talk about the stickman for a second, because this little guy became the way I pictured my progress. In the beginning, my mental stickman at the desk was drawn with super shaky lines, like someone scribbled him during an earthquake. Every difficult customer was this giant shadow towering over him, pointing, complaining, asking trick questions like, do you even know what you are doing? But the more interactions I survived, the more solid those lines started to feel in my head. Not because the customers got nicer, but because I stopped treating every conversation like a final exam. Confidence, at least the kind customer service beat into me, was less about feeling powerful and more about being okay with not knowing everything on the spot. Here is the part nobody tells you when they give you those generic confidence quotes online. Your nervousness does not magically disappear. It just gets outvoted by practice. On that first day, every new request felt like a personal threat to my existence. Like if I got something wrong, it meant I was broken as a person. But customer service is viciously honest. It puts you in front of so many people that you eventually realize most of them are not thinking about you at all. They are worried about their own time, their own life, their own tiny emergencies. And if you look and sound even slightly steady, they will usually just roll with it. That realization took a little piece of pressure off my shoulders. And in that tiny space, confidence started to sneak in. Before we wrap this first chapter, there is one more thing that day taught me that you can steal for your own life. Confidence is not a trophy you win. It is more like a muscle you build by lifting small, awkward, uncomfortable moments over and over until they stop feeling so heavy. My first day at the service desk was pure chaos. A parade of stutters, wrong buttons, fake smiles, and silent panic attacks. But it was also the day I proved to myself that fear does not actually get to decide what I do. If you are watching this and you feel like your inner stickman is shaking behind every social interaction, you are not broken. You are just early in the process. And if you want to keep growing that unbreakable kind of confidence together, hit subscribe to Confident Connection Labs so this is not a one-time therapy session between us. It becomes an actual journey. All right, welcome back to the chaos, my friend. If you thought the first day was rough, buckle up because surviving customer service is like being thrown into a storm where every wave tries to knock your stickman self down. But here's the thing. That chaos is exactly what builds that unbreakable confidence we all want, but nobody really explains how to get. So, let me take you behind the scenes, beyond the nerves and into the gritty, real stuff that turned me from a trembling mess into someone who could actually stand tall, even when the tide was high. The biggest enemy in that journey was my own inner dialogue, which was like having a nightmare roommate constantly telling me I sucked and was going to fail. You know that voice, right? It's the one that says, you better not mess this up, or everyone is judging every word you say. But here is what I learned through countless good, bad, and flat out embarrassing conversations. You can retrain that inner voice with practice. I started catching those negative thoughts like a game, telling myself, nope, next thought, you are not the boss here. It sounds silly, but this shift, making your brain less of a toxic commentator, really changes the game. Suddenly, confidence wasn't about hiding the fear. It was about managing it without letting it run the show. One epic tool that saved my sanity was active listening. Yeah, it might sound like a fancy corporate buzzword, but it is like a superpower when you work the service desk. Instead of freaking out about what you need to say next, you actually focus on what the person in front of you is saying. I admit, at first it felt like I was just nodding blankly like a bobblehead. But soon, I realized listening closely meant I could respond better, ask smarter questions, and actually help people instead of flailing. Plus, customers sense when you listen genuinely. It's like an instant vibe upgrade that turns a potential disaster into a connection. So, my nervous stickman started evolving into a more confident figure, less frantic and more tuned in. Another twist was learning to anticipate. No, not like psychic powers, but understanding what customers usually need before they say it. This was a total game changer. I began spotting patterns, prepping answers, and smoothing out the awkward pauses. That tiny extra step of thinking 2 moves ahead gave me a little edge, like my stickman started carrying a map through the maze instead of wandering blindfolded. And when you can provide something before they even ask, that's pure confidence gold. It shows you're on top of your game and actually care. This feeling made every interaction less of a gamble and more of a controlled play. Now, let's be real. Mistakes didn't disappear overnight. There were moments when a simple question threw me off so badly, it felt like I'd been murdered, in cold blood, by my own words. Remember the horror of saying something awkward that makes the conversation hit the point of no return? Oh, I lived that. But those brutal errors were part of the process, like crude sketches before the final masterpiece. Each time I stumbled, I learned what not to do and how to come back with a little more grace and humor. Real confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about being okay with the fact that shit happens, and you can still keep going. That mindset shift was huge. It turned failure from a terror into a teacher. And what about managing that frantic energy inside when everything feels like it's going wrong? This is where breathing works miracles. Taking a deliberate breath before answering or dealing with the next customer wasn't just a health tip. It was my personal reset button. It slowed the mad treadmill running in my head and reminded me I was still in control, not the other way around. Simple but gold. This little habit became part of my confidence toolkit. As my stickman figure grew sturdier, I also started to master the art of turning things around through empathy. Yep, empathy. It sounds soft, but it's a powerhouse in customer service. When frustrated people show up, often the biggest battle isn't fixing the problem right away, but making them feel understood. I learned phrases like, "I hear you. That must be really frustrating," and honestly, trying to feel what they felt. That connection, even just a flicker of it, could diffuse anger and create a bridge between the customer and me. It made me feel more like a human and less like a robot, which boosted my confidence big time. In all this madness, the biggest secret I took away was that confidence doesn't mean feeling fearless. True, unbreakable confidence is rocking up with all your fears and mess-ups, not despite them. It's putting one foot in front of the other, even when your inner voice is screaming, "Abort mission." The lessons from that chaotic front line taught me that nobody starts confident. Confidence is built by putting yourself out there, face-planting a bunch, and deciding to keep going anyway. So here's my final reflection for you. If your inner stickman is shaking today, that's okay. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Every awkward moment, every flubbed line, and every "please don't let this explode" thought is forging something far stronger than any quick fix. Keep showing up, keep practicing, keep building that muscle of showing up imperfectly, but persistently. And hey, if you want to keep walking this wild, rewarding path to confidence with a community that gets it, be sure to hit that subscribe button to join Confident Connection Lab. Together, we'll turn those shaky stickman moments into a solid stance, one conversation at a time.